Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. It's great to be here at the Rapid Plasma Deposition in Plattsburgh. Now that rolls right off of your tongue. I was once in the hospital and had a rapid plasma deposition. They hurt. The key to a successful rapid plasma deposition is to make sure they're not using your plasma. They use Warren Boley's plasma. But this is not about pain today. It's about pleasure, and it is a pleasure to be here. And I want to introduce some folks before we get started with the program. I want to recognize Clinton County Board of Legislators Chairman Harry McManus. Franklin County Board of Legislator Chairwoman Barbara Rice. Essex County Board of Supervisors Chairman Randy Preston. Clinton County District Attorney Andrew Wiley. Clinton County Sheriff David Favreau. Plattsburgh Town Supervisor Michael Cashman. City of Plattsburgh Mayor Colin Reed. North County REDC co-chairs, now beginning their 7th year of a 2-year commitment. Gary Douglas and Tony Collins. SUNY Plattsburgh President John Etling. Clinton Community College President Ray DiPasquale. And all the other distinguished local elected officials joining us here today, and of course, all of you distinguished folks joining us here today. Thank you for being here. I am your upstate cousin. I live just west of here in beautiful Buffalo, New York. Anyone here been to Buffalo? Then you know it's happening in Buffalo. And it's happening all across upstate finally. It used to be hard to do events upstate because there wasn't much to do, and you didn't always get the kind of turnout that we get now. But what's happened in Buffalo is happening all across upstate. And thanks to the governor, who has made upstate New York his highest priority, who has empowered each of the regions of the state to develop their own plans and then gives them the authority to help allocate state resources. You have turned Plattsburgh around, you've turned the North Country around, and we together have turned upstate around with his support. Since 2011, your fearless leaders here at the REDC in the North Country, who have done a remarkable job, have helped you bring back almost $500 million to the North Country, almost $500 million, supporting over 450 projects here in the North Country. And by the way, we saw the airport obviously coming in. It is beautiful. That kind of infrastructure has been such a high priority for the governor, and it's great to see it here in Plattsburgh. And we flew in from Syracuse, where they too are getting a new airport. They're just a year or so away, but your airport is beautiful. And as the governor says, that type of infrastructure is key to commerce in a region, and it's key to commerce here. And I know Plattsburgh won the governor's downtown revitalization initiative, $10 million for downtown Plattsburgh, which is fabulous. And I know you've got a number of wonderful projects that is part of that redevelopment and revitalization, including, I know you're upgrading your streets and you're doing streetscape and you're making Plattsburgh more pedestrian friendly and more bike friendly. You've got mixed use development, the Durkee Street mixed use project, investing in downtowns, investing in residential, investing in complete streets. It's all about keeping young people, attracting young people, making it better for people of all ages who live here, making this a 21st century city and economy, activating the riverfront, connecting the riverfront to downtown. Those are all important components of economic development. I know your projects include arts and innovation studios, so you hit on all of the key components of revitalization of a region, be it arts or innovation, universities and workforce like you have here with SUNY Plattsburgh, investing in downtowns and revitalization, and then of course investing in businesses that are in tradable sectors of the economy. Things you make here in Plattsburgh like are made right here in this building that then get shipped around the world, exporting out the goods made here, importing in dollars, which results in jobs. And this project has had significant support from the state of New York, $125 million project. The state is investing $75 million in equipment and $50 million in facilities. You're talking about, between the existing and the new facility, about 170,000 square feet, hundreds of direct jobs, hundreds of indirect jobs, 21st century technology right here in Plattsburgh, consistent with your transportation cluster, which again is a reflection on the governor empowering you to direct resources to the industries that work the best here in Plattsburgh and in the North Country. So with that, I am going to introduce the person who's going to donate his plasma for this deposition, the CEO of Norse Titanium, Warren Boley.
Well, thank you, Howard. I can tell you that a lot of plasma has been dedicated and donated to making all this happen. It has been an honor and a privilege. Thank you, Governor Cuomo. This is a very, very exciting day for Norse Titanium in Plattsburgh, in the North Country. We decided to locate our U.S. headquarters here and our U.S. manufacturing capability here because what New York is doing, what is occurring in the North Country, what is occurring across the state of New York. We looked at 48 other states. We believed in Governor Cuomo's forward-looking economic development model. We believed in the potential of the North Country, in its deep pool of skilled labor, resources, its excellent transportation infrastructure, its proximity to a very large aerospace supply chain community here and across the border in Montreal. And all of this is why Norse Titanium can thrive here. We are building the world's first industrial scale 3D printing titanium facility in Plattsburgh. We will produce titanium parts here that, as Howard said, will ship around the world. Our proprietary technology heats titanium to thousands of degrees melts it into a liquid, then plasma torches and argon cools that into the metal that is on display for your examination today. Thanks to this rapid process, entire steps are eliminated from the traditional titanium manufacturing process. I like to say that we can make in an hour or a day in the 21st century what took a year in the 20th century. So this is a very, very big deal. Instead of cutting up a 200-pound block of titanium to create a 20-pound part, we use about 25 to 30 pounds of titanium to create that same 20-pound part. For the non-technical in the audience, I draw the following analogy. This is like taking a boiling pot of water, opening your freezer, pouring the water in, instantly creating an ice cube without an ice cube tray. That is the magic that it will occur and does occur here every day. We currently have 9 rapid plasma deposition machines here on site, with more to come, either on the other side of that wall or down the street or both, as customer demand dictates. Each machine can print 20 tons of titanium a year. This technology is truly a game changer. We're ramping up here in Plattsburgh, and it doesn't exist anywhere else on the planet today except 3 machines in our technology center in Norway. One of our most important partners has been Boeing and their supplier, Spirit AeroSystems. Today, we are expanding our partnership and working on more and more parts for the aerospace community, including the Boeing 787 Dreamliner, which we are in production on today. Now, tomorrow, headlines will say Governor Cuomo announced that Norsk is using a game-changing technology. But I believe the real headline is what Governor Cuomo is doing across the state and his overall vision of economic development and the model that he's created for other states to follow. Business leaders from around the world call me to ask, how is New York doing this? I remind them of their history, that in 1825, the governor of New York built the Erie Canal. I say, the governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo, is building the second Erie Canal. It's not full of water, it's full of technology. Today, Governor Cuomo is making transformational investments in cutting-edge industries like 3D printing here in Plattsburgh, in drones, in data, in solar manufacturing and energy storage, and photonics that's spurring 21st century industrial revolution. I believe the history books will talk about this age of advanced manufacturing and technological evolution as the 4th industrial revolution. And thanks to Governor Andrew Cuomo, the entire state of New York and its people are at the forefront of this new age. So I want to thank the governor for the incredible partnership that exists between this state and our company, which will move Plattsburgh, the North Country, and all of New York forward. Please join me now in welcoming a close partner in these efforts, Senior Vice President and Chief Technology Officer at Spirit AeroSystems, John Pilla.
Thank you, Warren. I'm not sure this is such a good idea, though. You probably know engineers are introverted by nature. Do you know the definition of an extroverted engineer? When you talk to an extroverted engineer, he looks at your shoes. That's as good as it gets. Seriously, on behalf of Spirit Aerosystems and our 16,000 employees around the world, our president and CEO, fellow Italian-American Tom Gentili, is an honor and pleasure to be here in the Empire State's North Country for this historic occasion. It's actually hard to overestimate the speed and the importance of this complex to Spirit Aerosystems for our customers and for the entire aerospace industry. The additive manufacturing RPD process, I never thought of as a medical procedure until today. The cutting-edge technology being used here in New York is having an impact far beyond your state in our global aerospace economy and company. At Spirit Aerosystems, which was spun off from the Boeing company in 2005, we build large aerostructures like complete fuselages. One of our taglines is "Spirit is where flight begins." The design and manufacture of the major foundations of flight occurs in Wichita and around the globe. Our deliveries include fuselages, wing components, and other large sub-assemblies of some of the most famous commercial and military aircraft ever built. Our customers include Boeing, Airbus, Sikorsky, Northrop Grumman, Rolls-Royce, and others. We support every current Boeing aircraft, including the 787 Dreamliner, and we will use Norsk titanium components on that program. Innovate is the first word in Spirit's company vision. We view innovation as both a differentiator and a core competency for Spirit. It's paramount in earning our way onto the next generation of aircraft and sustaining our business. Spirit's partnership with innovative companies like Norsk positions us for profitability and future growth. Spirit and Norsk have been working together for almost 10 years, we decided today, developing this state-of-the-art technology. There's potentially thousands of parts on a variety of programs that are candidates for this advanced process. Achieving a 30% reduction in part costs and being able to get those parts more quickly while meeting all the quality requirements is a differentiator for Spirit. And we are evaluating all our titanium parts for this process. I'd like to thank Governor Cuomo for your leadership in recognizing that innovation is a great investment for New York and for all the stakeholders who benefit from the applications of these new technologies in industries far and wide, including, of course, aerospace for Spirit Aerosystems. So with that, it's my pleasure to introduce the Governor of New York, Governor Andrew Cuomo.
How are you? Good afternoon. Well, it is my pleasure to be back in the North Country, and this is an exciting announcement to be sure. Let's give Warren Boley a big New York welcome. And John Pilla, the extroverted engineer. I love that. And your upstate cousin, Howard Zemsky, who is not just very funny, he's also very good at economic development, and he has been a gift to this state. So let's give him another round of applause. You know, when Howard was talking about your cousin to the west, Buffalo, Buffalo and the North Country, in many ways, were similar. Both had felt that they were treated like a stepchild to the state of New York, and that Albany was a far way away, and Albany didn't really understand them and their needs. Both Buffalo and the North Country were more about talking about yesterday and the good old days than focusing on a vision for the future and where they were going to go and where they were driving. And both were really suffering from an economic decline that went back 30, 40, 50 years. I was in Buffalo one day and somebody said to me, well, you know, when it comes to the economy, we've had a bad 50 years. And I laughed. I thought it was a joke. He said, I'm not kidding. It's been a bad 50 years. Why? Because we were dedicated to manufacturing in upstate New York. That's what we did. Mr. Bowley, the Erie Canal, that designed our economy. And then manufacturing left. And the question became, where's tomorrow's business? Where's tomorrow's enterprise? And that's a hard question. And it's a question they're dealing with all across the country, not just here. All the Midwestern states that were dedicated to manufacturing, and then it's gone. You need a plan. You need a backer. You need a place that is business friendly. And upstate New York had none of the above. A lot of what the state was doing on the state level was actually making the bad situation worse. State government was raising taxes, had this anti-business culture. We had to turn that around. How do you reduce taxes? You reduce spending. How do you lose weight? You reduce caloric intake. It's a very simple formula. It's a pain to do, but the formula is very simple. We brought down state spending to the lowest increases in history. I'm going to say that again because a lot of you are Republicans and just believe a Democrat genetically cannot reduce spending. You think it's in the DNA. Democrats can count, it's a fact. Our spending year to year, 2% increases for 7 years. Lowest increase since they've been taking numbers. No Democratic governor, no Republican governor kept spending lower. When you keep spending lower, you can cut taxes. We have the lowest middle-class tax rate since 1948, lowest manufacturing rate since 1917. All the rates are down. So we changed the environment, much more solicitous of business. We want business, we're flexible, we're aggressive. Howard goes all over the world, all over the country, looking for new businesses. We came up with regional business plans because what works in the North Country, a little different than works on Long Island, a little different than what works in Western New York. And Tony and Gary head up the North Country Regional Economic Development Council, which comes up with a business plan. And then the state of New York said, when you come up with the business plan, we will invest in your plan. Why? Because if you're going to make that type of economic transformation, you basically need an investment banker that is going to incentivize that transition. You have to build a building. You have to attract a company to come. Where's that money supposed to come from? State of New York that had not focused on upstate New York. I'm proud to say my administration has made the largest investment in upstate New York in the history of the state of New York, $36 billion. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And you know the expression, it takes money to make money? Well, it does take money to make money. And that's what our investments are all about through the Regional Economic Development Councils. And it takes a plan, and it takes a strategy, and it takes a lot of work. And you have that in the North Country. We talk about cluster economies. Howard talks about it quickly, like everybody's as smart as he is. But the transformation to the innovation economy takes new businesses that innovate and are organized through what they call clusters, that there's a synergy to having a number of businesses in the same geographic locale, right? Silicon Valley, Route 128 in Boston. The creativity feeds off the creativity. In the North Country, we have a transportation cluster. 30 businesses that are focused on transportation, Bombardier, Nova Bus, that are basically in the same line of work, transportation manufacturing, and the innovation cluster wants to inject the latest and greatest technology in that field. Now, Norsk Titanium has a groundbreaking technology. The company was located in Norway, shopped 48 states. I'm tempted to ask what are the 2 states you didn't shop, but I will not give myself the pleasure. 48 states and chose the state of New York. Why? Because we did all of the above. Because you have a regional economic development council that has a smart plan, because taxes are down, because we're aggressively incentivizing business, and because they see the market opportunity for them here. Titanium is the material. Strength of steel, weight of aluminum, but very, very expensive to manufacture. The key is, how do you get down the cost of manufacturing titanium? Because it is almost always a better material to use than what many in the transportation or industries are using, especially in the aerospace industry. And if you could just make titanium cheaper, boy, the sky would be the limit. Norsk Titanium manufactures titanium products less expensively. Now, when they say it's a printer, it literally makes a product the way a 3D printer would operate. Lines of titanium that are put in place, very little waste, and the printer follows the model of the piece that you want to manufacture. The potential applications are endless. Aerospace applications, certainly. But you want to make a lighter and stronger bus? You want to make a lighter and stronger subway car? The applications are endless once you have the technology. And that's what today is all about. That's what Buffalo, now having Tesla and Panasonic, making the best solar panels in the hemisphere, Rochester with new technologies on photonics, Syracuse where they're testing and designing drones because they think drones can do everything from deliver the mail to deliver your laundry if you give them enough time. But here, in this transportation cluster, it is about how do you make titanium parts faster and less expensive, and how adaptable can you be? This is an investment for the state, for the North Country. It will create a couple of hundred jobs over the next few years, and that's great. But I think it's going to be much more than that. I think it is going to be a stimulus for the entire cluster. I think it'll make companies rethink how they make their product, and I think it will all be happening here in the North Country. And that's about jobs, and that's about economic development, and that's about bringing more young people in. That's about partnerships with SUNY Plattsburgh, where people get trained to understand how to use this equipment, and that starts that economic ball really turning. It's exciting. I want to welcome Norsk Titanium again. I want to thank you for having confidence in New York and the North Country. We welcome you here. We're excited by the potential, and I believe for all of the North Country, the best is yet to be, and today is another big step forward. Congratulations.